What's up, Bulls Nation? It's the Bloody Horns Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Let's get into it, man. So the Chicago Bulls were back tomorrow night against the Boston Celtics. Tough game to come out of that All-Star break with. But the Bulls, we really don't have that tough of a schedule remaining in these 27 games. Strength of schedule-wise, the Chicago Bulls, they rank 17th in the NBA right now. They got to play the Celtics twice. They also have 3 games left against the Washington Wizards. So the Bulls, they kind of have an easy schedule here. And if they can win 60% of their games, which doesn't sound like a lot when you just say it raw like that, but to win 60% of your games in the NBA, that's about what the New York Knicks are at this year total, and they're a much better team than the Chicago Bulls. So if the Chicago Bulls can pick their level of play up, win 60% of these last 27 games, that puts them right at 42 wins for the year. 42-40. That's an improvement from last year. That's being competitive. You know, AK, he preached the whole competitive thing at his post-trade deadline presser, said the goal is to remain competitive. Winning 60% of your remaining 27 games is pretty competitive, especially when it's against lackluster competition. Like I said, they only rank 17th in strength of schedule. Their average win percentage for their remaining opponents is 49%. So the Bulls, man, we kind of have it easy to finish this year out. Some of the other teams, they got it way worse than the Chicago Bulls. Do I have faith that the Bulls can win 60% of these remaining games? Not really. You know, we haven't really seen that from this team. We've seen this team have a propensity to play down to the competition, not necessarily to instill their will on the competition when they're clearly better than the teams they're playing. Whenever they play inferior competition, you know, the good teams, they instill their will on them. They beat those teams down. The Chicago Bulls, even when they beat those bad teams, they let them hang around the whole time. They never really force their hand. They never really get after teams. They never really dominate teams like that. So for the Bulls to have a pretty average strength of schedule remaining, honestly, might not be the best thing in the world for them. Billy Donovan hasn't shown an ability to coach against inferior teams, an ability to get his guys up for those type of games. So we'll see. I mean, the Chicago Bulls, we are locked into that 9 seed. I saw people when Torrey Craig's injury got announced yesterday, they were saying they should just tank, fall out, get to the 11th seed. It's not going to happen, guys. One, Torrey Craig's not that important to this team. He's a nice player. He's a good glue guy. His numbers are down across the board with the Bulls this year compared to where he was at the last couple of years. He hasn't been super impressive. He hasn't been bad, but he's been about average. So he's not that important to this team. Reason number 2 is, if you guys watched a Brooklyn Net game lately, they fired Jacques Vaughn. They're tanking their year down. They're horrible. The Raptors are even worse. Since they did that big trade, they got Emmanuel Quickley in there, RJ Barrett, Bruce Brown. Ever since they did that, they've been spiraling. They've been free falling. So the Bulls are not going to play bad enough to drop down to 11 just because they lost Torrey Craig. And neither of those teams are going to play good enough to close the 5-game gap that the Bulls have on them. So it's not going to happen. Most likely, the Bulls will remain in 9. I don't even see them dropping far enough back they have a decent lead on the Hawks. So I don't think the Hawks are going to catch them either. The Bulls, they'll probably win about 50% of these last 27 games. They'll probably go something, optimistically, I'll say they'll go about 14-13 and be right in the spot they're in right now. But strength of schedule wise, it's not that hard of a schedule. The Bulls could easily get to 42-40, finish this year strong, go into the play-in with some momentum, ride the hot hand, win the play-in tournament, make an 8 seed. We can see what Ayo and Kobe look like in playoff series as leading contributors. We've never seen that before. So be a good litmus test for the guys. But I'm excited to watch some Bulls basketball tomorrow. It's been a while. You know, it's been over a week. Kind of jonesing for it at this point. So tomorrow I'll come back with those 5 keys to victory. If you haven't checked out the newest podcast yet, it's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's the 5 questions Chicago Bulls got to answer to finish this year out. Go listen to it. Let me know what you think. Follow on social media. Handles all the same, @HornsBloody, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Throw me a follow. Let's talk hoops.